DOECHI, Lauryn Hill, and Nicki Minaj. Three generations of female rappers who didn't just perform at the Grammys, but they owned the moment. These women brought skill, style, and fierce femininity to the stage in ways that shook the culture. Today, we're talking about the top female hip hop Grammy performances, and wait till you hear about the things Queen Latifah did on stage for her performance. Salt and Peppa stepping onto the Grammy stage in 2018 was like a history lesson with a serious beat. They hit the medley running with songs like Push It, Shoop, and What a Man, all together with the energy of 2 decades of breaking barriers. You could feel the chemistry between both of them. Their moves were sharp, voices were tight, even with the level they're at in their career. The crowd wasn't just watching, they were vibing, throwing hands in the air like it was a club night. The production leaned into nostalgia, but it didn't feel dated or slow. Instead, it was like a proper celebration of female rap's roots. Salt and Peppa used the stage to remind everyone that female MCs paved the way. They owned it, controlled it, and built a foundation for all the women who followed. And speaking of women who carried the torch for respect and empowerment on that Grammy stage, let's talk about Queen Latifah's 1995 Grammy performance of Unity. It wasn't just a show, it was a declaration. From the moment she stepped on stage, she carried a presence that said, "Listen up, this is important." The beat was ready, and the crowd was ready, but Latifah's delivery was what made the moment unforgettable. Her flow was sharp and direct, and laid down powerful truths about respect, self-worth, and standing up to the disrespect women face daily. The song tackles street harassment, domestic violence, and the struggle for dignity, all wrapped in a smooth but fierce rap that demanded attention. She wasn't yelling or screaming, she was commanding respect with every word. The staging was minimal, there were no flashy effects, no distracting theatrics, just the queen, confidently holding the mic, dressed in a sleek suit that matched her unapologetic vibe. The simplicity worked because it put all the focus on her words and energy. The audience was completely locked in, nodding and vibing, fully aware they were witnessing more than a performance. It was a powerful feminist anthem brought to life. Unity set the tone for female empowerment on Grammy stages for years to come. And that fire didn't stop there. Fast forward to 2003 when we had Missy Elliott's performance. Her performance was a wild ride from the jump, especially with the way she transported everyone to a whole other world. Picture this: neon lights, futuristic costumes, dancers moving in sync like robots, and Missy herself commanding the chaos with a grin that said, "I own this moment." Starting with Work It, Missy flipped the beat like a pro, teasing and twisting it in ways no one else could. Her flow was razor sharp, playful, and confident. Then she jumped into Scream, aka Itchin', cranking up the energy even more. The stage looked like a sci-fi movie set with the slick metallics and bright colors, while Missy and her crew owned every inch of it. What really made this performance pop was how she mixed creativity with skill. She wasn't just rapping or dancing, she was telling a story through movement, style, and sound. The choreography was tight, the visuals were trippy, and her charisma was off the charts. You could tell she was having fun, and that energy was infectious. The crowd was hyped, and you felt like you were part of something cutting edge. And speaking of pushing boundaries, let's talk about Lauryn Hill's performance of To Zion. This performance was a moment of pure honesty and vulnerability that stood out in a sea of flash and spectacle. It starts with her sitting alone at a piano, stripping everything back and letting her voice take center stage, creating an almost sacred mood. The song, which was a heartfelt tribute to her son, was packed with emotion. You could see it in her eyes and hear it in every note. The love, the pride, and the complexity of motherhood all wrapped up in a soulful rap and singing hybrid. The crowd went quiet, hanging on every word like they were witnessing a personal confession being shared with the whole world. The lighting was soft and warm, adding to the intimate atmosphere. There was no flashy backup and no dancers. It was just her and that piano, proving that sometimes the simplest setup hits the hardest. Her voice cracked with emotion here and there, but it never lost power. Instead, it made the performance feel raw and real. This set blurred the lines between hip-hop, soul, and gospel, showing that female MCs could be deep storytellers too. It was textbook Lauryn Hill. 13 years after Lauryn's emotional delivery, the stage got flipped again by a force of nature who brought the theatrical flair and undeniable presence. I'm talking about none other than Nicki Minaj's performance in 2012. It was a full-on theatrical takeover. She did not just rap, she embodied characters, moods, and vibes like it was a one-woman show. Opening with Roman Holiday, she came out with stark black and white face paint that made her look fierce and mysterious. The stage design played into that dark gothic fantasy vibe with dramatic lighting and dancers moving like shadows. Her delivery was fierce and sharp, switching effortlessly from intense rap verses to melodic singing. It wasn't just a performance, it was a story unfolding live. Then she switched gears with Bees in the Trap, bringing a whole new kind of energy. Oh, this one was faster and packed with attitude. Her presence was magnetic. Every move was confident and precise, and the crowd was totally locked in. What made this moment legendary was how she mixed her larger-than-life persona with raw talent and charisma. The visuals, costumes, and energy all built this immersive experience that felt like a glimpse into her world. And just as Nicki raised the bar with her dramatic flair, the next queen brought unfiltered energy and celebration to the Grammys a few years later. Let's talk about Lizzo's 2020 performance. Lizzo stepped onto the Grammy stage like she owned the place, and honestly, she kinda did. This performance was all about raw power and confidence, with her bringing her signature mix of soul, rap, and straight-up joy. She started with "'Cause I Love You," pouring every ounce of emotion into her vocals, and her voice booming through the arena like a force of nature. Then she flipped the energy up a notch with "Truth Hurts," the track that basically became a self-love anthem for millions overnight. The beat dropped, the horns blared, and her energy was contagious, dancing, rapping, and owning every inch of that stage. It was unapologetic and fun, but also inspiring. But what made this performance special was the balance. She didn't just show off her vocal chops or her rapping skills, she connected with the crowd in a way that felt personal. Her interaction with the audience, her smile, and the sheer joy she radiated made you believe this moment was as much for her fans as it was for herself. By the end, you weren't just watching a performance, you were part of a celebration of self-love and empowerment. And speaking of taking over the stage with unstoppable energy, Megan Thee Stallion's performance in 2021 was on another level. She hit that Grammy stage with the confidence of a woman who's completely in control, and it showed. Her performance of Savage was iconic, the way she gave the song a fresh new twist with choreography that had everyone watching glued to their screens. Ugh! She was sharp, sassy, and dripping with charisma, all while serving up slick flows and fierce dance moves. But Megan didn't stop there. She transitioned into Body, which was basically a celebration of owning your shape and owning your space. The visuals were vibrant, with bold colors and killer lighting, perfectly matching her bold attitude. What really stood out was how she fused sexuality with empowerment. There was nothing shy about this set. It was loud, proud, and unapologetically feminine. It wasn't just a performance, it was a statement about owning yourself on your own terms, and Megan made sure everyone got the message loud and clear. Watching her command that stage was like watching a queen rule her kingdom. Every step and gesture showed power and confidence. DOECHI stepped onto the Grammy stage in 2025 with a performance that raised the bar, and honestly, it caught a lot of people by surprise in the best way. After her historic win as the third woman ever to snag the Best Rap Album, she owned that stage. Her set mixed Catfish and Denial Is a River, and the energy was electric from the jump. Right away, the stage was alive with sharp choreography. She switched up her looks mid-performance, going from her suit and tie look to a Tom Brown two-piece that made her stand out even more. What stood out was how she balanced raw lyricism with mainstream appeal. The lighting and staging changed the mood, complementing the vibe of each track perfectly. Watching her was like seeing a new wave of hip-hop talent carving out her lane, unbothered and unapologetic. And beyond just the music, DOECHI's performance felt like a celebration of female power and creativity. And finally, we have Beyoncé's 2017 performance of Love Drought and Sandcastles. Starting with Love Drought, Queen Bee took center stage, bathed in soft lighting, pouring out vocals filled with vulnerability and strength. Her voice was out of this world, every note hitting with purpose. Then she transitioned into Sandcastles, where the emotion deepened. The stage transformed into a hazy, dreamlike space, and her delivery was raw and intimate, pulling the audience into her world. The visuals were minimal but powerful, putting all the focus on her storytelling and emotional depth. What made this performance legendary wasn't just the vocals or the production, it was how Beyoncé used the moment to show growth, healing, and resilience. Beyoncé owned that stage like only she could, commanding, graceful, and deeply human. And that's why this performance still stands as one of the most unforgettable female hip-hop moments in Grammy history. And that's it, the top female hip-hop Grammy performances that brought heat and showed exactly why these artists run the game. If any of these moments stuck with you, drop a comment with your favorite or another artist you think should have made the cut. And if you want more deep dives like this, hit like and subscribe.